What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be reviewing the Innovv K5 dash camera system. Let's get right to it. First things first, the packaging is premium quality as you can tell. Flip it open like so, and then you have all the contents. The first thing you're gonna see is this little pamphlet over here that says Innovv to write from Innovative. Really like that, nice and clean. Then you see all of these beautiful goodies over here. You have mounts over here. You have the DC converter to wire all of this up. You have a nice instruction manual and a couple stickers. So in today's video, I'm gonna bring you along installing this kit on my motorcycle, which is obviously the ZX-10R. No better bike for this to go on. Obviously the install is gonna be different for every single motorcycle that is out there, but I'm gonna show you how I intend to install it on my bike, and then maybe you can learn a thing or two on how to get it done on your bike. Real quickly, out of the box, have this control over here. We have the GPS module over there. We have the front camera, which is a DVR, so everything is built in. The storage system, the camera is all one unit. And then we have the rear camera over there. We also have a whole bunch of mounts and the DC converter that's required to mount this on any motorcycle or power sports equipment that you have. And now opening the box for the mounts, we see that it includes a whole bunch of mounts for it. We also have a microphone for this unit, which is really nice because with this, you can pick up lots of exhaust sounds, the riding sounds. You can even use this to motovlog if you really wanted to. And we have a variety of mounts over here. I'm certain we will find one to work on this bike. And then we have the DC converter. Really nice system. Like I said, this DC converter is required to run this camera kit on any equipment you intend to run this kit on. So now, while we prep the motorcycle to install this kit on it, I'm going to talk to you guys about the many benefits and the features of this kit. Looking at the size of this DVR, this front camera kit, some people might go ahead and say it's too big, it's too bulky. But compared to the average size of a GoPro 7 or the GoPro Max, I'm certain it's not that much bigger than any of this. And for a unit that records in 4K 30 frames per second, can't go wrong with that. As you'd expect with an install like this, we're going to need to take some fairings off. We're going to need to play around with the wiring to ensure we have a nice and tidy install. Now we're going to remove this piece to be able to remove the seat and access the battery. Now we're going to remove this, like so. And now we remove the two 10mm bolts. And the seat comes off. Right now, as you can see, the bike is almost torn apart. We go back over here. I have the install guide laid out here. It gives you a pretty good idea of where everything is going to go and exactly how you want to make this install work. Obviously, as you can tell, we have the front camera that's going to go in the front of the bike. We have the rear camera that's going to go in the rear of the bike. We have the GPS module, and if we look closely, it shows us this is the front of the motorcycle over here, and it shows us where the GPS module should go. So somewhere back over there. Now it's very important to figure out where you want to mount this remote controller. And for me, I'm going to be mounting it on the right side of the motorcycle since I have my heated grips controller over here. This will just go right over here. It's going to be a nice install. So in order to make that install happen, I'm going to remove the tank fairing over here so I can route the wiring harness up into here. The first thing we're going to be installing is going to be the DC converter. So this is the main power harness. We're going to go ahead and install it here and secure it down to this position. Now to install this, I'm going to be using this 3M adhesive tape. I'm going to set this right in the middle, like so. Just so as you can see, this DC converter for the Innovv camera does have an inline fuse in it. So it's nice and protected when you install it on your motorcycle. I'm going to get right in there and place the camera. That is perfect. So right now with this DC converter installed, this wiring harness is going to go all the way to the front. So we're going to keep that to the side for now. And then the red and black are obviously the power cables that are going to go to the battery terminals. Now this is the AC DC wires. With this wire, you can start the camera system with the ignition on, and with the ignition off, the camera system does not stay running. Alrighty, so the next part we're going to be installing is going to be this GPS module. And reason is because we're going to be installing right next to the DC converter over there. We have some 3M double-sided tape over here again. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove this inner liner over here. Alright, so as you can see, this is the front of the 10R. I've removed that front fender over there. And right now, this is where I intend to install the front camera. So what I'm gonna do is drill a bigger hole in here so I can fit a butterfly nut in there and I can secure the camera up there. So this is what I'm referring to right here. This is not included in the kits. This is just one of the hardwares I have laying around in my pile of hardwares. So I think this is going to be the best way to install this particular camera on the 10R. Obviously, it goes without saying, on your bike, you might need to do something differently to make it work. But on this particular motorcycle, I believe this is going to be the best way to get it done. So without much more talking, I'm going to go ahead and shave off that little piece that I've shown you guys, fit this washer or this nut in there, and then we can reinstall the fender, figure out the wiring, and then install the camera. So right now, what I'm currently doing is trying to make that hole wider, because as you can see, it is a bit small to fit the included hardware to mount the front camera. I have a drill bit over here. I have a pair of vice grips. I'm just spinning it in there to make that hole wider pretty much. Alright guys, what I've decided to do is go ahead and cut that butterfly nut that I showed you guys. So now as you can see, it's one straight piece and it fits right in there, like so. And now we can go ahead and reinstall the front inner fender and then install that camera in place. Now I have it inserted into this block piece that comes in the mounting hardware kit, the Innovv K5 system. So I have this fully threaded in. I am also going to use one of the rubber mounting bushings that comes in the kit. And then I'm going to install this in that mounting position that we've created. Now I'm going to tighten it in place. And now as you can see, that is installed in there, nice and secure. Now we're going to come over here. This is the bracket we're going to be using. This is going to mount here like so. We're going to use this little hardwares to mount this to that bracket that we've installed on the motorcycle. So when installing this bracket into the front camera, I also have another rubber bushing over here just to dampen that vibrations from this motorcycle. All right, that's nice and solid. We are now ready to install this camera assembly. You can see fits perfectly in there. Now we're going to secure it in place. That is perfect. It's right in the center of the motorcycle. Couldn't be happier with that install. As you can see, we have the front camera all figured out. So the next thing we're going to do is lower the motorcycle, and we're going to start figuring out the wiring for all the different components that this kit includes. So the next piece of the puzzle is going to be this remote controller that I want to mount up in here. Right now would be the best time to install this because we have everything situated where it should be. We have the remote controller over here. We have the double-sided tape. And now we install it in position like so. And now we have the wiring for this controller going down through here. And then later we're going to connect it to the front camera that has the DVR all built into it. And now we're going to route the wiring harness for the DC converter and for the GPS module right through here, all the way to the front where it's going to connect to that DVR unit. Okay, so to perform the install of the rear camera on the tail end of this motorcycle, I'm going to open all of this up and then we're going to have access to the area where I want to mount that rear camera. Now this piece is ready to come out. And now we're ready to move this to the side like so. Now I have the rear end completely opened up, as you can see. I'm going to show you exactly why I intend to install the rear camera on my particular motorcycle. Like I said, it may differ on your bike. You just have to look at it and figure out what's going to work best for you. Over on this bike, right here in the middle over here is where I'm going to be installing the rear camera. I have opened it up, and as you can see, there's a nice spot for me to fit a bracket and drill a hole and fit that camera in there. Right in the middle, we're going to drill a hole. That's perfect. So now over from the top, I'm going to insert the bolt with that same rubber bushing, just to make sure it's watertight. And at the bottom, I'm going to fit another rubber bushing there and then the main camera bracket. just like so. And now we're gonna tighten it up. So now, as you can see, we have that camera bracket fitted, nice and centered on the motorcycle. That is perfect. So now we're gonna go ahead and install the rear camera over here and run the wire through the exact same hole that the license plate and indicator lights goes into the motorcycle. So now that we have that opened up, we're gonna go ahead and run the rear camera wiring harness through, just like so. And then we can feed it all in here, and then we can get it mounted up. Now we have the rear camera brackets. We're gonna slide it in, like so. And then we're gonna loosely fit it to the brackets. As you can see, we've currently fitted the rear camera on the motorcycle. It looks beautiful. I'm super happy about that. Now it's time to button things up in the rear end, move on forward, connect all the wiring harnesses together where they belong, secure that away, and then we can try out this camera. Starting from the back, we have the rear camera wiring harness laying right against the tail over here. It comes right in here through the factory location. We route all 3 wiring harness for the camera, the GPS, and the DC converter all right through here, with the blue zip ties all right through here, like so, all the way in there and to the front right now. The next thing we're gonna do is get them in there, and then all the wire harness is gonna sit on this side because we have the room to do it. On the other side houses the rectifier and the fuse box. So there's room to secure all the wiring harness on the right side of this particular motorcycle. We have the motorcycle lifted all the way up on the lift. So now we can access all the way up in here to connect all the wirings. That is pretty straightforward. Each different plug has a different color, so you know exactly what plug is going to work. For example, as you can see, this is orange. We have the other one right in here. We connect that in place and so on and so forth. So now I'm gonna go ahead and connect everything, clean all of this up, and I'm gonna cut you guys back on. Alrighty guys, so that took a minute to get all this wire tucked away the way I'm happy and satisfied with, but I got it done, so that's good. As you can see underneath here, the wire goes up in here and then it goes right up in here. All the wires are tucked away to the right over here, all zip tied, nice and tucked. And then obviously it goes up here, right over here, like I mentioned before, all the way to the back to the various components. It is a clean install. I am happy with it. Obviously, these things take time. If you're going to do this, I suggest taking your time with it so you do not have to repeat the exact same thing over and over again. But right now, as you can see, I have everything nicely tucked away. I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the entire fairings, and then we can try out this camera system. And now the last wire we're going to install for the camera system is this power wire. So this needs to go to a component that has 12 volts when the ignition is on, like the headlight, tail lights. Anything that gets power when you turn on that ignition is where this wire is going to go. So right now, since it's closest to the tail end, I'm going to wire it into the tail light that turns on when that 12 volt system comes on. Right now, as you can see, I have this power wire going right into the tail light wiring harness, like I mentioned before. And as you can see, the light is solid red over on the DC converter, which shows that it's off. And as soon as we turn on the ignition on this bike, we go over here, we can see that blue light blinking over there. And the little diagram shows you when it's on, blue flash, when it's off, solid red. So right now it's flashing blue. That power is on. If we go over here to the remote system, as you can see, the GPS and the camera button, they're both flashing. So that means everything is working the way it should. This is a really nice system, very sophisticated. You have front and rear camera that's gonna work as soon as you turn on the bike. No messing around with batteries, no turning on and turning off the battery. Nothing like that. This powers on and off by itself as soon as that ignition is turned on. Really love this system. As always, guys, there's going to be a discount code for you all in the description if you want to pick up this camera kit. So now everything is all nicely tucked away. I have this excess wire just sticking here. I really did not want to cut it, so I have it sitting here. That's okay. It's out of the way. It's not touching anything. We're going to start reinstalling everything that we had to take apart to get this installation done. And for the microphone that comes with the system, I have it plugged in up front where the front DVR is. And I'm just going to have it come up front to the tail section over here. There's less weight noise. It's going to have more exhaust noise. And that is what we want if we're going to use this footage for any kind of video. So it's just going to stay right here and get as much exhaust sound without the wind noise you get from regular footage. Now I'm going to go ahead and install the seat. And now we install the rear tail fairing. Now the seat goes back in place, just like so. I would obviously like to take this outside and give you guys a nice video of how this works outside at night and at day. But I'm in Canada and it's winter and it's freezing, there's snow, so that's not possible. But stay tuned for that video. Hopefully next season, I'm gonna put out a video of how exactly this thing works during the day and at night, and you guys can have a better idea of how good these cameras are. The Innovv K5 is well priced at $458 compared to the GoPro Hero 12, which is about $480 right now on the sale price that I've seen online. The video quality of the Innovv K5 is 4K at 30 frames per second for the front camera and 1080p at 30 frames per second for the rear camera. Is it going to be as good as the GoPro? Highly doubtful. The GoPro is an action camera, so you have to bear that in mind. This, on the other hand, is a dash cam that would record 24/7 as long as this bike is running or any motorcycle or power sports equipment that it's fitted to. So there are differences. As soon as you turn on the bike, this kicks in, this starts recording. It's not playing around with buttons, there's no messing around, none of that stuff. So it does have its benefit. Installation of this system is quite sophisticated, like I mentioned. It is not as simple as the GoPro, as throwing on some sticky mounts and sliding it in. This takes a lot more work to get it installed, but once it's fitted to the motorcycle, it's literally as simple as, just like I said, starting the bike and going. You can be rest assured that that video is going to be recording. Unlike the GoPro, which is an action camera, you can never know when the battery is going to die on you. I have been in multiple situations like that myself. It happens, like I mentioned before, and you're hoping to have some kind of footage saved to your GoPro camera. Unfortunately, that is not always the case. But with a system like this, you can be rest assured that it's going to be recording 24/7. If you intend to motovlog with this setup, it is possible. There is a microphone included in the kit that you can wire up through your jacket into your helmet and throw a dead cat in there, and you can motovlog all you want. Though I do not recommend having anything tethered to you while you're on a motorcycle. It's just not something I would do personally. So just like I mentioned, there are benefits to having this camera. It is a dash camera. It is not meant to be looked at as an action camera like the GoPros and the Insta360, but it does serve a very good purpose. Like I mentioned before, if you guys want to purchase any of these units or the many other units that Innovv has for sale, there's going to be a link in the description. We're going to have a discount code for you guys to save 10% off your order. Now, to set this up is pretty simple. You go into your Innovv app. After downloading the app, you go into settings. It prompts you to connect. You go into Wi-Fi. It's going to put the list of all the available connections. You see Innovv over there. After clicking on Innovv, you put in the default password, which you click join. After it's connected, it takes you back to the Innovv app. And when you click videos, you do the whole prompting and everything to set it up. And then, as you can see, it shows you what it looks like in here. Obviously, this is not really set up the way it should be right now, but you can see me up in there. Hello. The quality is not going to be the greatest because we're in the garage right now, but if I scoot over to the back, I am right here. Really awesome stuff. So now I've clicked stop recording. I'm going to go into settings. We're going to flip the camera over because I know you can do that for sure. So we'll go into settings. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, You can adjust the resolution, 4K at 30 frames per second and 1080p at 30 frames per second for the rear camera. Or you can do 4K at 30 frames for the front and 720 and all that good stuff. We're going to leave it at 4K for the front for sure and 30 frames. And now for the image orientation for the front, gonna try invert it and see what it looks like. So let's go back in here, invert it. Now as you can see, it's facing the correct direction, the way the bike should be. So that is excellent. So you really just have to play with this and figure out what is the best for your situation. Like I mentioned before, if you guys want to purchase any of these units or the many other units that Innovv has for sale, there's going to be a link in the description. We're going to have a discount code for you guys to save 10% off your order. So make sure you guys use that whenever you intend to purchase this stuff. On that note, I want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the love and support like always, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.